Welcome to Gun News Review. A federal judge in Seattle needs more time to think about a lawsuit brought by a group of state attorneys general to halt the online publication of 3D gun files. U.S. District Judge Robert Lasnik on Monday granted a preliminary injunction to the state seeking to block Texas-based Defense Distributed from posting the files. His action follows an initial temporary restraining order he granted in July. His ruling Monday effectively continues the blockade against Defense Distributed while he ponders the merits of the lawsuit. The choir of voices from the anti-gun crowd couldn't wait for the victims to be removed from the shooting Sunday at a video gaming tournament in Jacksonville, Florida. 3 people, including the gunman, were killed and 9 others injured. Gun control advocates immediately took to social media to blame guns for the shooting, saying it could have been prevented with even more gun laws. Many media outlets seemed stunned to hear this interview of an eyewitness by First Coast News immediately following the shooting.
This shouldn't happen. It should honestly never happen. I'm not going to blame guns for this. It's a person's actions that got upset. It's really just unfortunate and absolutely ridiculous.
Authorities identified the killer as 24-year-old David Katz, a video gamer from Baltimore. They say he carried out the attack with a handgun at the Jacksonville Landing, a complex of eateries and shops on the St. Johns River. Investigators say Katz died of a self-inflicted gunshot. Gun advocates in Washington state have stepped up efforts against the I-1639 initiative that's back on the ballot this November. That after the state Supreme Court last week cleared the way for the gun control initiative to be on the ballot. The state's high court reversed a judge's decision that threw out more than 300,000 signatures used to help put I-1639 on the ballot. The initiative calls for stricter background checks and raises the minimum age to purchase a semi-automatic rifle to 21 years. But many opponents of the initiative are now making calls to raise support and money for what's likely to become a fierce battle over the initiative. The other side already has been given a significant cash infusion of $1 million from Microsoft's Paul Allen last May. I-1639 supporters have scheduled a kickoff rally in Seattle for September 4th. Student gun control advocates and Parkland, Florida high school student David Hogg rallied at the Smith & Wesson headquarters Sunday. Many of them had completed a 50-mile 4-day march in Massachusetts to the headquarters in Springfield where they protested. They held American flags and signs that read, "We can end gun violence," books, not bullets. The marchers condemned Smith & Wesson for making the rifle used in the February shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland. The group wants the company to donate $5 million to gun violence research. Counter-protesters held signs across the street from Smith & Wesson supporting the gun maker and the Second Amendment. Many of their signs read, "I love Smith & Wesson." Others held signs with images of firearms. You're listening to Gun News Review. A new report is adding yet another topic for use by gun control advocates. The study by the American Journal of Preventive Medicine that 1/3 of United States Armed Forces veterans store at least one firearm loaded with ammunition and unlocked. The study deduced that this access to lethal means increases suicide risk in an already vulnerable population. The survey was completed by nearly 4,000 U.S. adults, of whom 561 were U.S. veterans with guns. The study made the deduction that storing a firearm loaded and unlocked was more common among veteran firearm owners who disagreed that firearms should be stored unloaded and locked when not in use. Hunters in Texas this fall, for the first time, will be able to use air guns and air-powered arrow rifles that meet criteria adopted by the Texas Parks and Wildlife Commission. Minimum ballistic specifications of pre-charged pneumatics for hunting alligators, big games, and turkeys are 30 caliber bullets weighing at least 150 grains, powered by an unignited compressed gas propellant with a muzzle velocity of at least 800 feet per second, or any bullet weight and muzzle velocity combination that produces at least 215 foot-pounds of energy. There are also minimum requirements for small game and birds. The Commission also adopted provisions that hunter education certification requirements be met in order to hunt any wildlife. At least 10 other states permit the use of pneumatic devices for hunting big game. Police in Paraguay are a bit red-faced after they found out someone had apparently swapped dozens of their stored rifles with replicas made of wood and plastic. In addition to 44 FAL rifles, Paraguay's Minister of the Interior said 90 other small arms are missing. But there appears to be a discrepancy in the number of guns involved. Many news outlets in Paraguay report 42 rifles disappeared. The stolen guns have been declared obsolete and were being stored in the city of Capiata in the custody of the National Police's Department of Arms and Ammunition. You've been listening to Gun News Review, comprehensive and concise.